Hello and welcome to the Final Level Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Constantino, a media and strategic communications major here at Oklahoma State University. And this week, our topic is going to be censorship. How does it work in the radio? How does it work on television? And finally, is censorship even effective at all? My three guests this week are Blade Thomas, an advertising major here at OSU, Brandon Milliken, a college student who consumes 45 to 60 hours of media content per week, and Chris Knox, an impartial bystander. So, first off, Blade, how do you feel censorship works in the radio?
Well, I believe that the radio does a fantastic job at censoring because they either bleep the words out or just remove them altogether.
Interesting. And Brandon?
I don't think the censorship works at all because kids nowadays, they already know the words. And if they don't know the words, they can easily have internet access to find out what these words are that are being bleeped out anyways.
And finally, Chris, your thoughts?
Well, I don't listen all that much to the radio, but when I do, I guess censorship does work a little bit, and obviously I know what the words are going to be, but if you just had them stated exactly how they are, then it doesn't make much difference.
Interesting. So it seems like on the radio issue, we are at a stalemate. There are cases of censorship working where parents can listen to the radio with their kids or their older relatives and not hear cuss words. But at the same time, the kids can now go on the internet to sites like Rap Genius or AZ Lyrics and just find out and sing along for themselves. So, question number 2. How does it affect television? Blade?
Well, I feel like censorship also works on television because there are things like parental controls which parents can set up to control what their kids watch and don't watch.
Very good point. Brandon?
I think it works even less effectively with television because it's so easy to find, to break the code, the parental code. You easily have access to like HBO and Cinemax and all these other channels that don't censor anything, so I don't think it works at all.
And finally, Chris, your thoughts?
I don't agree with you at all on that, actually, and I think parental controls actually work pretty well, and codes like that, unless somebody's using their password as password, doesn't really make much difference, but and honestly, I think parental controls are a great thing. I think censorship itself with television isn't that well done, and some words are completely uncensored when they should be, or vice versa, and it kind of depends on which stance you take on it.
So in television, we've come to agree that it isn't about the TV networks or the broadcaster censoring, it's an at-home thing, which leaves many children exposed to content they're really not ready for, which brings us to our final question. So, guests, is censorship effective? Blade?
I believe censorship is very effective, not only on TV and radio, but also on the internet, because schools can set up their internet and make it to where certain sites are blocked or unaccessible.
Interesting. Brandon?
Well, I don't think censorship works at all. I think there's just too many ways to get around it. There's too much knowledge already out there. It's just, it's too easy to get around it. That's all I can say about it.
Mm-hmm. And Chris?
And really, I think censorship is kind of a reflection on what we actually value as a society in terms of, and most of the time when we talk about kids hearing bad words in songs, music, TV, whatever else, they're usually hearing those words in school, from their peers, friends. And honestly, as much as censorship tries to prevent the issue, and it's already reflected in the behaviors and the kinds of things that they're already exposed to either way. And as much as I would like to support censorship, I don't think it does as good of a job as we would like to think it does.
Excellent point, Chris. Well, there you have it, folks. 3 different students from across 2 different states, and we still can't get one congruent answer on censorship. As host, I think it's only right to express my feelings on the subject, and I feel that censorship does not work at all. There are things that get censored that shouldn't be. For example, the Captain Underpants books, or even children's books like And Tango Makes Three, which is a book about 2 penguins who get a baby. Things like that aren't detrimental to society, whereas middle schoolers can watch South Park and Futurama on Comedy Central whenever they please. My vote is that the government changes their laws on censorship and starts banning things that really need to be banned. Well, there you have it, folks. That's this week's episode of the Final Level Podcast.
Yeah, girl.
Thank you all, and goodbye.